I have learned in this debate is Democrats care about three things: Muslim terrorists, Somali pirates, and illegal immigrants. And what's clear to me, if we want to fund the Department of Homeland Security and get them on board, there's one simple solution. Have all of those TSA agents declare they are illegal immigrants, because then they'll rush to get the money over to them to get them funded. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And actually, I have an anecdote as well. 35 years ago, when the previous speaker from the Democratic side was here as a member of Congress, I was a 16-year-old page wandering around the floor in a blue blazer and a khaki pair of pants. So it's an interesting moment for me, because what he said is, let's fund, I quote, let's fund the important services the American people deserve. Let's talk about important services they don't think they deserve. Over the last 4 years, 20 million illegal immigrants came into this country. And those illegal immigrants have killed 1,400 Americans. Let me give you just a few of their names. Kate Steinle, who was 32 years old in California. Laken Riley, who was 22 years old in Athens, Georgia. Rachel Moran, who was 37 years old in Bel Air, Maryland. Jocelyn Nungaray, who was 12 years old in Houston, Texas. Liz Medina, who was 16, also in Texas. But those apparently aren't services that need to be funded. Since the conflict in Iran began, there have been 4 terrorist attacks in 4 separate states by 4 unaffiliated groups. They were working independently. Let's say their names. Those are apparently not important services that the American people need to know. Ryder Harrington, 19. Savitha Shah, 21. Jorge Peterson, 30. And Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw in Virginia. Those are apparently, stopping that, are not important services the American people deserve. While I stood here waiting to speak, the government announced that they've arrested 2 Chinese people in the state of Florida for attempting to put an IED outside of a military base. We're told funding 86% of the Department of Homeland Security is funding all of the Department of Homeland Security. That is not true. And also, as I stood here, I read one other thing, that in New York City, a 4-time deported Honduran illegal alien was charged with murder for shoving an 83-year-old U.S. Air Force veteran onto the subway tracks in New York City. But apparently protecting him is not an important service the American people deserve. What I have learned in this debate is Democrats care about 3 things: Muslim terrorists, Somali pirates, and illegal immigrants. And what's clear to me, if we want to fund the Department of Homeland Security and get them on board, there's one simple solution. Have all of those TSA agents declare they are illegal immigrants, because then they'll rush to get the money over to them to get them funded. It is not right to keep the government closed. If you want changes in policy, let's have those debates. But the same people who demand these folks not be masked spent years demanding the rest of us get arrested if we weren't willing to wear them. The hypocrisy is stunning, and the American people are not being served. We need the job to get done. We need to get the whole thing funded, and I support the resolution fully. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.